7 months ago, the Minnesota Timberwolves were riding high, having reached the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 2 decades. The team looked poised for sustained success with its mix of size, skill, and defense, led by a rising young star in Anthony Edwards. However, the franchise's fortunes have taken a dramatic turn since then. In a controversial move, Minnesota traded away their second-best player, Karl Anthony Towns, for financial flexibility and a draft pick. While this decision was intended to position the team for long-term success, the immediate aftermath has been disastrous, leaving Edwards visibly frustrated as the centerpiece of a struggling team. The decision to trade Towns was framed as a move to build a sustainable contender around Edwards, with the organization aiming to create financial flexibility under the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, or CBA. The new CBA, which introduced stringent financial thresholds like the second apron, limits roster adjustments for teams with high payrolls. By trading Towns, Minnesota hoped to avoid these restrictions while maintaining competitiveness. However, the plan backfired spectacularly. Key additions, such as Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo, have not delivered as expected, and the Timberwolves' current roster lacks cohesion. Despite Edwards' individual brilliance, highlighted by a 50-point performance in a recent game, the team has struggled to remain competitive, exposing the limitations of their restructured lineup. Edwards' growing discontent is a concern for the franchise. While he is under contract through 2029, the psychological toll of seeing a team decline after reaching such heights is significant. Edwards has expressed frustration with his role, emphasizing his desire to be a primary scorer rather than a facilitator. The situation draws parallels to past NBA stars like Jimmy Butler, whose dissatisfaction with roster-building decisions ultimately led to their exits. If the Timberwolves fail to surround Edwards with sufficient support, they risk alienating him in the long term, potentially leading to a trade request in the coming years. Critics of Minnesota's strategy argue that the issues stem from a series of missteps, including the 2022 trade for Rudy Gobert, which depleted the team's assets and created financial constraints. Had the Timberwolves avoided that trade, they might have retained both Towns and Edwards while maintaining a more balanced roster. Now, the team faces an uphill battle to retain Edwards' trust and maximize his potential as one of the NBA's brightest young talents. For Minnesota, every decision moving forward must focus on keeping Edwards happy and competitive. Losing him would represent not only the end of a promising era, but also a setback from which the franchise may take years to recover.